Just another application. One of the ways that you can try to think about this idea is just to, anything that you're doing, try to explore the male and female aspect. And you can, you can call it whatever you want, like push or pull, or the electric or magnetic type energy, whatever you want to call it. It's basically just a push or a pull type motion, or drawing or pushing type motion. So, like I said, with Khalid, you can use this driving type motion here, right? So what I'll do is I'll just do a few applications that mix both, which is essentially what you want to get to, is a state where you are constantly fluctuating between these two types of hitting. It's very confusing to be hit like that, and there aren't a lot of striking styles that mix it quite as, confusingly as Silat does. So with Khalid here, we're going to crash in, all right? And now, like I said, I can hit here and pull here at the same time. I can hit here and then pull here and then hit here. You see? So we've got a male motion, boom, a female motion, and then a male motion again. So slower here, it's male motion, female motion, male motion, male motion. You see? So, again, if we say we do the female motion, so this female motion, male motion, female motion, male. So you can just play around with this. You've got this female motion, male, female. I draw them back, pull them back into me, into this knee. Male here for the break. See, female, male. And you can just play around with this. And it's really simple once you just kind of look at what you're doing. It's push and pull. But when you start to look at when would be the most appropriate time to do each one, that's when you start to really get economy of movement. And you can do a lot of strikes in really small places. So anytime that he starts to do anything, you can use these different types of motions to disrupt that. So our Pukulan Juru number 1 has a pretty good mixture of male and female motions. So we'll use this Juru to kind of illustrate just a little bit further how you can practice this, and also how you can kind of expand on your Jurus a little bit by taking the similar motions in the Jurus and replacing them with other strikes that use that same motion. So our Juru, Pukulan Juru number 1, hits here. So what we can do is take this first motion. This first motion is definitely a female type motion, right? It's a cover. So we can use this motion to cover here, or we can use it to cover to the inside here. And we're going to use this as a setup to this first gunting. All right, so this gunting motion is just crushing the arm in between the hand and fist. So you can do this at longer range to the wrist, to destroy the wrist. You can move up and hit these nerves at the bend of the arm. You can hit the bicep. All right. So this first motion here, you can use this as a male motion. This is kind of what I want to get into. All of these motions have the potential to kind of be flip-flopped back and forth between these two types of ideas in hitting. So this first motion, where we're kind of covering and we're going to move in, you can use this as a male motion. It's just a gunting this way. All right. So as we're coming in here, we can use this motion to destroy. So the second Juru actually uses this motion where we come in and hit to the tricep. All right, so we hit here. So this first gunting, like I said, here or here. This first gunting here, we're crushing the bicep. All right, so this is a male type motion. We're just crashing in with this. The next motion is the draw back for the elbow. So we can use this motion to set up this elbow. Very fluidly draw this punch back and then move in with this elbow. Now, when you look at each of these motions, you can see how, obviously, when I throw this first motion here, as I recoil this motion here and start to draw it back, this is the female motion. Obviously, when I strike with this next motion, the elbow here or here, this is a male motion. Now, when we get to the next motion, we have this this cover here, this buka here. Now, this motion is obviously female. I'm drawing him in, setting him up for this punch. But also this motion backwards. When I'm moving this way, on this guy, this would be a male motion. You see? So you can take each one of these motions and kind of look at it and see how you can transform it into the antithesis. So to continue through this juru, we have this female motion here, male motion here. Female motion here, male motion here. So what we can do is start to take a look at some of the jurus and motions that, you know, obviously all of them have this male and female aspect. And we can start to replace some of these motions with that. All right, so this first motion, you can replace with maybe, and I'm just going to stick with some easy stuff to work with here, with your khalid motion like we did before. All right, and then we have the gunting. All right, so this gunting could be any sort of gunting. You know, you can use any part of your body to do this. You can also separate the two strikes and crack him up top while you're parrying this punch down low. All right, so again, here and then here. You know, you can do anything you want with this. You can check the elbow here and hammer fist up here. You can hit this one here and this one here, you know, and then come in with your other strikes on a different line. So to continue this first motion, like I said, we can use this female motion of khalid. This next motion is a male motion for the gunting. So I can maybe check this arm here and strike low here. And now I have this draw for the elbow, right? So that draw can maybe be a parry, you know. So as I'm moving here, it could be another khalid. And then we've got this elbow here. This is a gunting elbow, so we can still use it here as a gunting. Now, if we wanted to make this a different motion, you can just look at, okay, what other strike has that type of push? Every other strike has that kind of push. So you can mix anything you want into here. So we can do this first motion, we can do, like I said, we can do khalid. You can explore the different aspects of khalid, like using the wrist bone, using the elbow, all of those different motions, and use that more female aspect. You can use this rotor parry, which feels just like khalid. And then you've got this gunting hit, which now, since I'm already in close range, I might come in and use my elbow here. All right? And then when I have to draw this back, like I did before, I can maybe draw back here and then hit him again here. All right? And now I've got this cover here. You know, I can maybe do a forearm hit here and then a punch here, you know. Or I can do the punch in a different direction. I can do the forearm hit here, punch here. You see? It's the same motion. I'm just using a different strike. And you can do something in the beginning, maybe as simple as like replacing the punches with a different strike. You know, do inverted punches instead of regular punches, instead of straight punches. Do vertical punches. Do the low gate instead of the high gate. All right. But you can just take each one of these strikes and just replace it with a different strike that has a similar motion. You can even go so far as to, you know, use strikes that have a similar torque in the strike. So if you're using this motion here, anything that has this kind of twist in the form with that strike, any strike here that has this twist, you know, you can do backhand speed punch. You can do any strike that has that twist or that torque that's produced by having the palm up to the palm down. All right, that'll get you started. So we're going to try to turn this into a drill where we're just going to go back and forth between the push and pull type motion. We did this a little bit at the Chimandi summer camp this year. It was really cool, and you can use this. I think we did a little bit with the blade as well. you can just kind of, explore whatever it is that you have, explore it with this kind of idea, and figure out a way to have a male and female aspect of each motion that you have. And then obviously you can take it much, much farther from there by exploring like what, the things that you can do with those male and female. And there comes like a point where the line kind of blurs. You can have destructive, crashing type motions. Like for instance, I was telling my student Chris earlier, if you move in here, this is kind of a pulling type motion, but it's a destructive type motion as well. I can use this as a hit, and it's still like a pulling type motion. You can use a push type motion and get a pull type response, where it kind of manipulates their body in a way where they're being pulled off balance by your strike. And you can kind of just play around with the responses, that the guy gives you, and then you can decide where to go from there with your follow-ups and stuff. But it's a good idea just to explore your Jurus. Don't just dig into to practicing strikes. Dig into the concepts and the principles and the foundation, like the roots of what make those motions up. If you understand those, then you can take them much farther than someone that just memorizes how to do the specific strikes or just perfects just the strikes. If you explore all of those tiny details, the hidden stuff, you can really open your art up to the point where it's just limitless possibilities. So as a drill, what we'll do is we'll just do back and forth between push and pull. So we'll just mix in takedowns and whatever you want, you can mix into this. So and like I said, you can just play around with this as a drill, just have fun with it. Anything that you can pull, push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, pull, push. Play around with it, just have fun. Anything you can get a hold of, when he comes in, anything that he does, if he tries to grab you or anything, push, pull, push, pull, push, push, pull, push, pull, push, pull. Idea is we're going to use this drill where we're going back and forth between the push and the pull. Now when he's moving towards me, don't get caught up in just using the limbs. Make sure that you're using the entire body. So as he's coming in here, I can pull with this and push with this here. And then you've got pull here, push here. All right, if he strikes, pull here, push here. You see? I've still got kind of a pull here, push here. You see? So you can try to, every part of your body, every part of your opponent's body, try to think of every way that you can manipulate it with the push and the pull. For instance, as he moves in, instead of always manipulating the hands, the problem with, can you turn the music off for me, please? The problem with always manipulating the hands is that when he starts to come in and I manipulate him this way, I'm forcing this hand this way. So what we can do is we can come into the face. As we intercept this, come into the face. Now, like I said before, the head is the steering wheel of the body. So as he moves in, I can take it this way, I can take it this way, I can take him back. I can use multiple surfaces on my arm to continue the push as I go through, keeping multiple strikes flowing on him. So I can move in here and intercept, and then rather than intercept and then try to throw a strike, I can come immediately into his face and manipulate him. And so now I've got one strike here, second strike here, third strike here, fourth strike here, and you can continue to strike like that. So as we move, we can start to manipulate these different parts here. You know, we can come in and take the leg, the leg in different directions. We can take the foot, push or pull in different directions to try to get different, get different results. So really try to experiment with this. Like I said, one of the best things to start with is the head. So as he's coming in here, when I start to do this push and pull, you can immediately come for the face and then manipulate, pull, push, pull, push, pull. And you can use the head to steer the body. Also the elbows. So I've got push, pull, pull, push, pull. See? Here. Push, push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, push. Pull, 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 push, pull, push. Push, pull, push, 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 pull. Pull, push, pull, push. Sorry, that went a little bit off. All right, back to push, pull. You got pull. Manipulate the head, push, pull, pull, push, and even pull by the jaw here, by the throat. Pull, push, push, pull. Pull, push, pull, push. Sorry. Pull, push. All right, so it'll just give you a few things to work with. Like I said, don't be afraid to come to the different parts of the body that we use for off balancing. They're very good points to use for this. So you've got the elbow, is a very good spot to manipulate someone by. Very good place to check. The head, you can steer the body in all different directions by the head. The hips, the knees, you can use to manipulate, even the ankles. When we get down on the ground, it's everything, it's all in everything once we get on the ground. Don't be afraid to use small joints like the fingers and the hands. That should get you started. Alright, so you can play around a little bit with the blades with this. I'll do some really simple stuff so you guys can see it. So you've got the push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, push. You've got your draw cuts or your pull, any line that you're cutting on, you can turn it into that. Like I was saying before, when we were doing the empty hand, you can take any, like these lines, for instance, like angle 1, and we come through, this back half can turn into a pull. Like if I'm here and I'm hitting here, as this one comes in, the second half turns into a pull. Any motion that's traveling like that, if you have a strike that's going through, like a real heavy-handed strike that goes all the way through, rather than hitting and then pulling it back out to do a block, you can use two separate motions. By just adding a little bit of torque or twist with the body, you can make two strikes out of that motion. So anyways, you got your pull motions, your push motions. Slower. Your pushes, your pulls, pushes, and pulls and pushes. So again, slowly. Pull, push, pull, push, push, pull, pull, push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, push, push, pull, push, 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 pull, push. And then you can start to use the other hand to start to add a little bit of, you can make it really interesting. You can use the other hand to do the pushing and pulling type motions. Push here, pull, pull with the other hand. This is a little bit more complicated, but just to give you an idea of like how you can really expand this. Like I said, if you're just kind of static, you can use this push here, kind of pull this way here. Obviously, he's going to cut me if I do that, so I'm not going to really do that. But just so you can see, you can use this other hand to do all kinds of other things. You can use your forearm to push, your hand to push, your wrist to push. A lot of times you're going to end up in situations where it's not the best idea to actually leave it on there. When you make contact, it shoots off. You can use your forearm, your hand, your elbow, and it doesn't actually stay on there. It jumps off when you hit. Sometimes though, you can stay on there. We'll talk about that maybe in a different video. But like I said, you can use this other hand to do those motions where you're pulling and pushing to kind of help out. All right, so then you're doing maybe like a push motion with this hand and a pull motion with this hand to try to get the blade in as forcefully as possible. All right, so that's just an idea.